Okay, thank you very much for having me this morning from the Capital Network. My name is Dr. Tom Duthy. I'm an Executive Director of Invex Therapeutics Limited, and I'm delighted to present some highlights of our company to you today as part of the ASX GEMS conference. This is our standard disclaimer. Just in terms of the company snapshot, I draw your attention firstly to the left-hand table there. So we are a biopharmaceutical drug development company with a single drug asset called Presendin, which is a sustained-release exenatide formulation. Exenatide is an existing approved drug. We are repurposing this drug for an orphan disease called idiopathic intracranial hypertension, or IIH. A bit of a mouthful, but I will come to what that indication looks like shortly. We are at phase 3, so we are running a single phase 3 clinical trial to determine the effects of Presendin in IIH patients, which, if successful, will see our drug registered in the United Kingdom, Europe, and Australia. We have orphan designation granted in the United States and Europe and the UK, and our market opportunity is significant. So $1.6 billion annually across those three markets, US, Europe, and the UK. This current IIH market platform, there is no existing approved drugs, and we are the only clinical stage drug company with a drug program in IIH currently running a late stage trial. So a very good opportunity upon clinical regulatory success. And we also have a number of issued and pending patents to protect the core intellectual property over and above our orphan drug designation. Our capital structure is very straightforward. Our market cap of around 42 million is pretty skinny relative to the stage of development, but I draw your attention to our current cash position of 29.3 million. So this cash position fully funds this phase 3 clinical trial through registration in those markets, as I've mentioned. And that's a very fortunate position for the company to be in at the moment, in that we're not required to raise further capital to fund that trial. Our enterprise value accordingly, which is the market capitalization less the cash, is just 12.8 million. Our directors and management have significant drug development experience. Our chair, Jason Loveridge, Professor Alexandra Sinclair, who's a co-founder with Dr. Loveridge, and our chief scientific officer. She is a practicing neurologist and has substantial experience in the treatment of IIH, and also has run a number of clinical trials in IIH. So we're very fortunate to have Alex with the company. Dr. Megan Baldwin, some would know as the current CEO of Opthea Limited. Our register, top 20 own about 58%. Tadarang is our largest individual shareholder. The executive summary. So as I mentioned, we're a late stage drug development company and we're targeting IIH. So this IIH indication has very attractive market dynamics. It is unencumbered. As I mentioned, there are no approved treatments, no treatments in clinical trials beyond ourselves. And there's actually there's an urgent market need for therapies for IIH, with an IIH patient requiring our intervention. Presendin will be on that drug Presendin for an extended period, as this will be chronically administered. So from a lifetime value perspective per patient, it's also an attractive market dynamic. We have clinical data that supports and underpins our thesis that Presendin, sustained release exenatide, could be effective in IIH, in that our phase 2 trial data was very strong and showed a sustained drug effect in an IIH population. Importantly, we had no safety or toxicity concerns over an initial 12 weeks of daily treatment. And our single phase 3, which is targeting the UK, Europe, and Australia, will meet and hopefully exceed the requirements for registrations in those markets. The barriers to entry I've mentioned, we have orphan designation, which confers 7 years market exclusivity in the United States and 10 years in Europe. And we have issued patents with additional patents pending. Our milestones for the second half of this calendar year, and an investment opportunity for this business for potential investors, and of course existing shareholders will reap the benefits of our success. We have additional regulatory filings that we're in the process of completing and awaiting approvals on. So we have recently, in the last couple of months, achieved investigational new drug application, or IND, with the Food and Drug Administration in the US to commence US clinical trial sites, and that was achieved in August. We have approval for public hospitals in Australia in September, and we're awaiting at least 3 more regulatory clearances to commence our phase 3 trial in New Zealand, Israel, and Europe. We see ourselves progressively opening clinical sites this half, and our first patient is very likely to be recruited and dosed either in Australia or the United Kingdom this half as well. So a very rich vein of news flow and milestones for us this half, and we're very excited to deliver those progressively over the coming months. An investment opportunity in this business is really geared around the success of Presendin. So our phase 3 trial is designed to support Presendin market approvals. As mentioned, it's very unusual for drug development companies to have an unencumbered market opportunity. And that is a function of IAH being an orphan disease in that there are no existing approved treatments. It's quite rare. So biopharmaceutical drug development companies tend not to focus on rarer diseases. Importantly for us, though, if we are successful, it is potentially Presendin will be the first ever regulatory approved drug for IAH in any jurisdiction across the globe. And that is a huge achievement for a small biotechnology company in Australia. And we believe that there's really rapid potential here for Presendin to be incorporated into treatment guidelines and for it to be utilized clinically. So let me just pause for one moment on that aspect. Typically, a treatment guideline is a recipe book for practicing clinicians in how to treat a patient, and the level of evidence within those treatment guidelines is typically very high through large randomized controlled trials. So you know if you get incorporated into the guidelines, you have both rigor, diligence, and success as a drug, if you like, in the clinic. The utilization is important, of course, because a doctor currently who's treating these patients has no intervention or drug-based interventions to treat, and therefore the utilization, if we are successful clinically, will also be quite high, we believe. As I mentioned from the outset, we are fully funded with almost $30 million in cash as at the end of FY22, 30 June, and we exited the financial year 2022 with core corporate overheads of just $1 million per annum. Everything we do is geared towards the development pipeline and the development program. With that, I'd like to conclude today's presentation and thank everyone for listening in today. Thank you very much.